Good morning and welcome to Let's Talk Bible. We're going to be doing a series on the Ten Commandments. My name is Jean Dione. This is Joey Acquisto, and we welcome you to this morning's episode on Let's Talk Bible. We're going to be concentrating on the Ten Commandments, but we're going to give an overview of what we're going to be doing in the next episodes. First of all, Joey, I wanted to discuss with you about our thoughts about the Bible Project, which you can get on YouTube. They have a little intro to all of the Ten Commandments, and they do a beautiful job on that. So we're going to try to incorporate that in the future. Today we're just going to be discussing the Ten Commandments in general and have a little intro into the foundational moral law of the universe, really. The Ten Commandments establishes so much, and I think it sets the supreme priority for life. So I would like to turn this over to Joey a little bit and have him talk about what the Ten Commandments means, who's giving the Ten Commandments, and then we'll talk back and forth about that before we start with the first commandment in the next episode.
Sure. Yeah, you mentioned the Bible Project. I agree. I think they're a wonderful resource that's available on the internet. They do some excellent teachings and get in depth. So it would be good to use them as a lead-in. But as far as your question, Mama Jean, lead into the Ten Commandments, we see the Israelites in the Bible in Egyptian bondage.
Right.
And the God of Israel calls Moses when Moses is over in the land of Midian. And he says to Moses, I'm going to send you back to the land to basically deliver my people out of that captivity. And so that occurs in the first month, the first Hebrew month. We have the Passover that occurred in Egypt, the 10 plagues, the last of which was the killing of the Egyptians' firstborns, which was the Passover, the instructions that the God of Israel gave the Israelites, as we have recorded in Exodus chapter 12. And then he brings them out of Egypt. And we continue reading, but then ultimately they come to Mount Sinai in Exodus chapter 19, which is in the third month. So it's within 2 months of the Exodus. And they come to Mount Sinai, and that is where the God of Israel gives what we know of as the Ten Commandments. In the scriptures, they're called the ten words or the 10 utterances. They're never really, there's one place, but they're never really called the 10 mitzvot, which would be the 10 Commandments. They're called the 10, it's called Aseret HaDevrim. And Devar is a Hebrew word that means to speak or to utter. It can mean a thing also. That's why they're really the 10 utterances. But they're really, really important because they're the only things, according to the scriptures, that the Creator wrote on the 2 tablets of stone that he gave to Moses.
With his own finger?
With his own finger. And he did that twice because the first 2 tablets Moses smashed at the base of the mountain when he came down after his first 40 days and 40 nights on the mountain in Exodus 32 when the Israelites had made the golden calf with Aaron there. And so he smashed those 2 and then he went back up. And he received 2 additional tablets, 2 new tablets, again inscribed with the finger of the Creator. And those 2 tablets were ultimately placed into the Ark of the Covenant. Very, very important thing, a very important ornament or accoutrement, if you will, of what the God of Israel taught his people to make, and to place that in the Holy of Holies in the tabernacle, and that the God of Israel would meet with the Israelites from upon the lid that is on that Ark of the Covenant. Ark of the Covenant is basically it means the Ark is a chest or a box of the covenant. So the covenant is what's inside of that box. And what was in there is the 2 tablets of stone with these 10 commandments inscribed upon it.
What amazes me with the Ten Commandments, and we're not talking about, of course he establishes that in the first commandment. I'm getting ahead of myself. But what amazes me on this moral law is that, like you said, the 10 words. We have, anytime that there's a law that goes in effect, it's usually pages and pages and talking and talking. And here's the moral supreme being of the universe, and he's able to condense in such a brief, short amount of time and words the whole purpose of life, and of do's and don'ts, and right and wrong, and sin and failure, and it takes mankind so long to be able to express one little view, and how concise it was. Do this, don't do this, and very, very not very wordy. I don't think it's very wordy. I'm amazed that that could be a universal law and be so brief. I mean, just our Constitution and our laws and statutes of the America are so lengthy. It's unbelievable. That just got me just when you were talking. You call them 10 words. That's pretty powerful to me. The simplicity and the complexity of it all.
Yeah, there's a couple here. I'm just looking at them right now. For instance, do not murder.
Right.
There's 2 words in the Hebrew Bible. It's just 2 words. Do not commit adultery. There's only 2 words.
Right.
I mean, when I say do not commit adultery, it's more than 2 words in English, but I'm saying in the Hebrew Bible, it's only 2 words. Lo tetzah, that means
Don't.
you shall not murder. Lo tinaf, you shall not commit adultery. Lo tignav, you shall not steal. 2 words for each of those commandments. So, like you say, very compact,
Very
but
condensed.
very meaningful.
Yeah, that really hit me. I think that I don't think we see, or maybe I say I say the world doesn't see the powerful intent, the order, and the structure that is given for life. I just think of the world we know, and if everyone was obeying those 10 commandments, wouldn't it be a different world?
Sure.
It would be it would be so different. It wouldn't be anything like we know today, and very simple. These are not hard things. I don't think they're hard things. They seem very simple. So I think that one of the other things is, who is this person that's giving the 10 commandments? Let's talk about that. In other words, if somebody says, comes to your home and says, you have to do X, Y, Z, I would be saying, on whose authority? Who's saying that I have to do this? I want to know what authority. They say, well, there's a law in Rhode Island and you can't do X, Y, Z, and therefore here's a penalty for it. And I'd want to know who gave you that authority to do that. So can we talk a little bit about who is this that is giving this law, and what does he represent? What is his name? Who is he?
Sure. And I'll warn you, I tend to make a long story out of everything. I'll try to condense this. But the one that, when we get into the commandments, the first commandment, where in English Bibles we'll see, I am the Lord thy God, who has brought you out of Egypt. You shall have no other gods before me, right? Well, the Lord, your God, capital L-O-R-D there, comes from the Hebrew 4 letters, Yud He Vav He. Okay. Which is the name that the Creator told Moses, this is my name, back in Exodus 3. When you brought this up, Mama Jan, just turned here. When this God, Yud He Vav He, called Moses, he's over in the land of Midian, and he tells Moses, I'm going to send you back to Egypt, and I'm going to use you to deliver the Israelites. And Moses says, well, I'm not very good with the tongue. I'm not good with the spoken word. And he was trying to make excuses. And Moses asked this God in Exodus 3:13, says, then Moses asked God, if I go to the Israelites and say to them, the God of your fathers has sent me to you, and they ask me, what is his name? What should I tell them? So Moses asked the same question that you're asking, Mama Jean. And it says, God replied to Moses, and it says here, I am who I am. This is what you ought to say to the Israelites. I am has sent me to you. Now, I am that I am comes from the Hebrew again. It's an English translation of the Hebrew. And the underlying Hebrew is, I don't know if this is going to make much sense to anybody, but it says Asher Ehyeh Asher.
That doesn't make sense to me.
And what it means in the Hebrew literally is this word Ehyeh is it's a future tense verb. So what he's really saying, I will be who I will be. You tell the Israelites, I will be has sent me to you.
Yeah.
Now that doesn't make a lot of sense, but what does it mean, I will be? And then he goes on to say, it says God in verse 15 of Exodus 3, God also said to Moses, say this to the Israelites. And then this translation says, Yahweh, the God of your fathers, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob has sent me to you. This is my name forever. This is how I am to be remembered in every generation. So this name Yahweh that's in this particular translation comes again from those Hebrew 4 letters, Yud He Vav He. Some pronounce that, they say Jehovah, some say Yahweh, some say different names, but none, and some don't pronounce it. And some say it's too sacred to pronounce.
Right.
And so we're going to say Adonai, which means my Lord.
Right.
In any case, this God reveals himself to Moses.
He does have a name.
As the one who says, I will be. In other words, the self-existent one. I will be who I will be.
Yeah.
Some will say it's the eternal one. In other words, the one who was and who is to come. The ever-living one.
It reminds me, when you're talking, it reminds me of something, we talk about, when we refer to God, we refer to him as our Father. He's our Father. So there seems to be a father-child, a parent relationship. I mean, have you ever had a situation where if you are a parent and you're telling your children that you're going to do this or you're not going to do this, and they want to know why, or, and you say, because I said so. You don't qualify, and they say, well, you're who I... Not that I am who I am, but I'm your parent. I said it, and that's enough, And so, therefore, in our own humanness, we can get that feeling or that attitude that, because I said so. That's it. There's nothing to say. I am who I am. It's going to be what it's going to be because you're speaking as a parent from authority. Imagine the majesty of this human. He's not a human being. This superior being that created humans, and now he is giving you a basic law manual for life. And it's like. I think that there's got to be a sense of humor when he thinks about the human being. You know what I mean? To say his interaction throughout history with Moses, with the law giving and everything. I mean, it's like he created everything, and he has 10 things that he wants you to really know, and and they say when you're gonna ask somebody to do something, you suggest. Or you beat around the bush, or you encourage, or you influence and everything. But not so with the Lord. I mean, he says it right. Do not do this, and do not do that, right? It's like immediate. Like, it's like, just, you shall not do this, and you shall not do that. And very simple, But now we go into Jesus condensing that. And where is that in Scripture? I think it's in Matthew. Well, how he condenses those 10 commandments. They asked him, what is the greatest commandment? So let's go. I think it's Matthew 22, I think you said. And let's wrap it up with the Messiah condensing even further. I mean, the Father gave the 10 commandments. They were 10 words. They were pretty condensed for life. And now we have Jesus condensing it even more.
If you don't mind, Mama Gina, I want to make a comment on something you said about being a parent of if we tell our kids,
right?
Because I said so.
Because I said so.
Right? Yeah. We make laws and rules for our children.
Right.
Because for the most part, good parents, because we love the kids and want them to
do better.
To do better and to
have happiness.
Live in harmony with us, right? And have a nice life.
Yes.
But we set certain parameters because we want what's best for them. And so the God of Israel did the same.
Right.
When he called Moses up on the mountain, and he told Moses, he says in Exodus 19, verse 4, he tells Moses, you have seen what I did to the Egyptians. This was after the Exodus.
And he
now.
destroyed them.
How I carried you on eagle's wings and brought you to me.
Right.
And he says this, now if you, right, he says, now if you will listen to me and carefully keep my covenant. In other words, this God wants to enter into covenant relationship, an agreement, a marriage, if you will, with the Israelites. Just like we have with our kids. It's not a marriage, but we have a covenant with the kids. Look, here's the rules.
Taking care of you. Here's the rules.
Yeah, you're going to benefit if you do things our way because these rules are designed to benefit you.
Protect you.
We're all going to live together as one happy family.
Yeah.
You're going to get fed. You're going to have a place to live and all that. You get all these benefits.
Right.
You're going to go on vacation and so on and so forth, but just play by the rules. And so he wants to enter into covenant, but he says, now if you will listen to me and carefully keep my covenant, you Israelites, will be my own possession out of all the peoples.
Right.
All the earth is mine, he says. But I'm picking you people.
You people.
And you will
You
be
people.
my kingdom of priests and my holy nation. These are the words that you ought to say to the Israelites. And he goes on to give them what we know of as the Ten Commandments later. In Deuteronomy 5:22, where we have the Ten Commandments listed in Exodus 20, but also Deuteronomy 5 is just a recap of what happened back in Exodus. It says that he thundered these Ten Commandments in the hearing of all Israel. All of the Israelites heard him say this, and it says in Deuteronomy 5:22, and he added no more.
Right.
And then after that, Moses goes up on a mountain, and Yud-Heh-Vav gives Moses a bunch more instructions that we have in the scriptures, in Exodus 20, 21, 22, 23, and then going on from there. But in any case, he spoke these 10 commandments in the hearing of all of the Israelites, and this is the covenant that he's given them. Now you ask about Yeshua or Jesus, and yes, he was asked in Matthew 22:36. One said to Yeshua or Jesus, says, "Teacher, which command in the law is the greatest?"
Yeah.
And the response from Jesus is, he says, "Love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your mind. This is the greatest and most important command. And the second is like it. Love your neighbor as yourself. All the law and the prophets depend on these two commands."
Interesting, because he breaks it down to really two. And yet there's 10 commandments. The first four really encompass what he's saying, to love the Lord your God with all your heart, mind, and soul. And basically, that's the first four commandments. He's showing his people, this is how you respect and worship me. I'm giving you these 4 commandments. That's how you respect me and love and honor me. And these other 6 is how you're going to respect and love and honor your neighbor. So that's how he broke it up, really. And when you really think about it, the simplicity of Christ. It's not a lot of words. It's really less words than it would probably take me a whole day to probably explain that, if I was going to explain that. But that's the simplicity. I love the simplicity of that. But anyways, that is our purpose. Our purpose is to bring you, in the future episodes, a little bit about the commandments, and to focus in on each one, discuss it, and to clarify the issues if we can, and to bring in scripture that will confirm it. And I think that it's going to be a good topic, because it really does lay the foundation for everything. Because it's almost like when a parent is talking to a child, and you have only a little bit of time to get the message to them. Be home by such and such a time. Don't go into the city, and make sure of X, Y, Z. And so you just get your point across really well. But if you have the love of that you love your parent, you don't want to dishonor that parent, and you don't want to cause them in pain. You don't want your behavior. You do not want to cause your parent pain if you love your parent. and your parent doesn't want you to get any pain either. So it's all about trying to live your life to the best possible way that you can avoid harm to your creator, harm to yourself, harm to the other person. Love is the fulfillment of the law, but we have to know what the foundation and what the law says. So I think that that basically speaks to what I want to say, but I want you to finish off, and we've got a couple of minutes. Joey, add a little bit more to that, and then we'll close it up.
Well, the thought comes to mind, Mama Jean, that if we're speaking to Christians,
Yeah.
if you out there are a Christian person, then I'm sure you've heard the term Old Covenant and New Covenant. As we just read in Exodus 19, this God of Israel told his people that if you will keep my covenant, and the covenant is the 10 words, again, that are written on those 2 tablets, placed in the Ark of the Covenant. He says in Jeremiah 31, much later, Jeremiah 31 talks about a new covenant that he's going to make with the house of Israel. It says, after those days, says the Lord, I will put my law in their inward parts and write it in their hearts, and will be their God, and they shall be my people. In other words, this new covenant, the laws aren't going to be inscribed on stone anymore, but they're going to be inscribed on people's hearts and in our minds. And so I just want to make the point that if we are followers of the Christ and followers of the God of Israel, because it's the one same God that hasn't changed, then these laws are written upon our heart. What's written there is the 10 commandments, the 10 words, the 10 utterances. And so it's extremely important. If we're going to be followers of this God of the Bible, then, and we'll come to see in the commandments, have no other gods before me. If we're going to follow this God, we've got to follow the covenant that he's laid down.
And another thing I want to add too is that a lot of times in Christianity, you'll hear the phrase, the law has been done away with. And that can lead us down a slippery slope, because in reality, that's saying that the consequences of these laws have been done away with. It hasn't. Love has fulfilled the law, but we don't do away with the law because our definition of love, it can be different with God's definition of love. You can't be committing adultery and just say, well, I love that person, and so everything's okay because I can still commit adultery. No, you can't. So the law is not done away with. It's basically been magnified. But this is the end of the...
Just a quick one. I just want to add. Law sometimes turns people off. So keep in mind that the word for law in the Hebrew is Torah. Torah is better taken as direction or instructions. Look at it that way. These are the instructions or the directions. Follow the directions and things will work out well.
Well, that finishes our episode. And I just want to say we thank you for tuning in. We're grateful that you tuned in this morning. We want you to meditate on some of the words that we said and always go to the source. Go to the Bible and find out what is truth in this world that's very confusing. Thank you for inviting us into your home, and God bless you. And until we have another episode, this is Jean Dione and Joe Acquisto saying goodbye for now.